Hello and welcome to episode 6, season 3 of the Radio Reflex podcast. Tonight's episode called Monkey Blitzness. Of course, we have got BlitzCon coming up at Mighty Ape this weekend, so we'll be talking about that. But as always, I'm Ian. With me is my co-host Alan. How are you, Alan?
Let me just adjust my screen so you can see all my beautiful face and beard today. I am. Can you say you're overworked when you're working the perfect job? Because I assume everybody thinks that. No, let's say just living the LSS life, and it's busy. But I mean, Auckland's been beautiful the last few days, on and off. Well, except for when you turned up for coffee this morning and it decided to pelt down with rain. But I don't know. I'm good. It's we're in that funny point of the year where you're just close enough to Christmas to start longing for it, but it's still too far away to really grasp Christmas. We're in the heart of darkness at this point. We're so close to getting to that Christmas part. So yeah, I'm sure most people will be looking forward to it.
I guess that's actually a good segue for our good housekeeping. Of course, as you guys know, we have run a number of events this year, and we decided that we wanted, as Radio Reflex, we wanted to have a Christmas party. So that's what we're going to do. And you've got some details of the upcoming Christmas party there, Alan.
Indeed. If we let's go over to, if you bring up the beautiful graphic that I spent the last 20 minutes working on there, Ian.
There we are. Look at that.
Yes. All right.
Lovely.
So I think I have already mentioned this on the cast, but yeah, I got inspired that we should have a Christmas party this year. So one of the things with running our events is we always wanted to be able to take them on the road to the different stores around Auckland, maybe around the country one day, Ian. But we
maybe around the world. Maybe around the world once this pandemic is over.
Oh God, where can we do our 2022 party? Well, let's not get ahead of myself there. We have teamed with
Bora.
Shuffle and Cut Hobbies and Games. Shuffle and Cut is the newest store to open up in Auckland. They're actually run by somebody I've known for years, Joe. They're located in the Newmarket train station. I'm not sure what you call it, the area around the Newmarket train station there. There's a little hub with lots of shops just by it. And here, he's going to host our Radio Reflex Christmas party. So 12 p.m. Start Sunday the 13th of December. Unfortunately, the graphic there doesn't yet show all the details, but we'll be releasing. But I suppose we can talk about some of the details now. Ian, would you like to tell everybody what the format is?
So that is probably the most exciting. Anyone who was at our last Radio Reflex event at Hobby Master at the end of it saw me playing with a few of the boys some Ultimate Pit Fight and going 2-0 with my KO deck and Ultimate Pit Fight. And I'm a big fan. And to be fair, Ultimate Pit Fight's probably the format that I've had the most of a hand in developing when I was working for LSS. So it's sort of like it's very, very close to me. I'm also a big proponent of multiplayer games. I was a huge fan of multiplayer versus back in the day. And so yeah, we are running a UPF Ultimate Pit Fight tournament. So basically what it's going to be is a number of rounds of pit fights. And basically each round the top two players are going to get paired with the top two players of the other pods. The 3s and 4s will be paired with the 3s and 4s, and so on. And basically we are looking to really crown the ultimate pit fighter. Really, this is going to be very, very cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting because the thing we have decided is Ultimate Pit Fight obviously does have rules about deck construction already, but Blitz is really the thing, and I think just the beauty of it is people can bring their Blitz lists over. But one of the things is UPF again is a different format. So while you can bring your Blitz decks over, we suggest you start thinking about the format already.
Yeah. It will be Blitz format for the decks. We have decided. So really, the only thing that's different from in UPF Blitz to regular Blitz is the basically you're allowed to play Go Bananas. That's it. That's it. You're allowed to play Go Bananas, and that is a very exciting card. If people don't know about that card, it basically is yellow, and it allows you to name a card and then crack a booster and put any copies of the card you named into your hand. And if you fail, you can keep cracking boosters as long as you want to pay for them. So it's a lot of fun.
Ian, while you say that's the only difference, let's get it right. That this is a significant difference, and I'm looking forward to people naming. Well, I'm looking forward to people that need that extra pitch. Name a wounding blow or something out of a pack, or just when you need that Hail Mary to get the red sigil or any sigil from a pack.
Can't get sigil. You can't get instants. It has to be an action card.
Oh, sorry, I forget. It has to be an action card.
Yeah. But nimbleisms. Oof. If you wanna put your attack over the top, that's a good one. Or slogisms.
Yeah, well, you might just be pitching to get a blue card. To get that one extra resource to pull off a turn. So so we're going to be potted up. Me and Ian are working on the prizes for the events. Me and Ian have been doing some serious discussion, so we won't reveal too much. However, one of the features is we're going to be putting up some cool foil prizes. I think we'll just wait till we get our hands on those first, but we've got some very cool stuff. And then once I got the cards in my hands, then we'll totally confirm that. Also, we're just lining up. Hopefully, we will have a guest at the Christmas party. We will hopefully have Sam Yang. We're just going to try and got to organise that with him this week. But hopefully, we'll have Sam Yang. So it'll be a great opportunity if you want to get some cards signed. Also, hoping he'll be able to pull up some prints and other stuff. But we'll be communicating with him, and hopefully he will be our art guest at the event. And he's a great guy. Good chance to ask all your questions about cracked bauble, for example. But there's lots of other things. Joe also is going to be putting on some pizza for players. So me and Ian actually have a host of things, and as we work through them, we'll be announcing them.
Yeah, and it's just a fun day to play some fun games of Ultimate Pit Fight. While we've got some cool things prize-wise, there's nothing of huge value per se. It's more about getting together and having fun and bragging rights. We are gonna crown not just the Ultimate Pit Fighter winner of the final table, but there's also going to be the most kills, because technically someone could get the most kills without actually winning the event. So there is going to be a trophy for the best at what they do.
Eliminate, crush it. What is best in life? To crush your enemies before you hear the lamentations of their woman. Something like that. But I mean, the biggest thing is we would just like for you all to attend. We would like
come on
to
down
catch up with you. And I just want to hear, like, me and Ian will be playing, as well as running it, and we just want to hear some laughter, maybe some salt, even a bit of friendly salt between players.
And we want to see, and this is the event to break out your like Aaron Newson. I'm putting it on you. I know I know you're the sort of person who comes up with some crazy ideas. This is the sort of event. Don't try and meta your way through. This is the event where you bring your Cavdanes, you bring your Shianas, you bring your crazy Dom Rinthias and stuff like that. This definitely come out have some fun. I'd love to see what I'd love to see Sam playing Ranger again. Like this really is a fun event, and that's what we hope everyone has.
Yeah, so definitely cool. So we'll put up more details tomorrow, over the coming weeks. Obviously, shout out to Joe at Shuffle and Cut for hosting with us. And again, hopefully this time, because we had our original Radio Reflex event, which was Pauper at Card Merchant West City, and then we took a big gap until we had Halloween Havoc. So one thing we'd like to do is have these Radio Reflex events on a more regular basis. So we'll see how we go. I think Hobby Master Penrose has already asked us to come back and run another event in the new year. Cool. So my birthday is coming up.
Well, my birthday's the Saturday, so just
saying. And clearly Mighty Ape decided to run it for you, Ian. I mean, it can't be a coincidence.
Well, the fact that I may not get to play kind of sucks, but that's neither here nor there.
You can tell that. You should tell that story, Ian. Your noble sacrifice. But anyway, so that's I think that's it for good housekeeping. Yeah. Let's get into the next section where we're going to talk about the monkey.
Yes. Let me just hang on. All right. So this weekend is BlitzCon out at Mighty Ape out in Silverdale. It is sold out. It is a 48-person capped event. So if you haven't got a ticket, you're out of luck. Sold out events, which is great to see. It's a sort of, but I feel like had they had the space for it, we probably could have got an extra 15, 20 people. But they are obviously working under COVID restraints and with the restrictions that they have in place, which is totally fair. So but great to see that sold out with pre-registration. So that's great. It is Blitz format, and this is replacing what would have been the Road to Nats that Mighty Ape would have hosted. Unfortunately, that was cancelled because of the second lockdown.
What happened
you go ahead.
What happened at the end of that season of Road to Nationals is both Mighty Ape and Card Merchant got hit by the COVID restrictions. So Card Merchant, obviously being like a normal store, they were able to work around it, but unfortunately Mighty Ape, certain policies and restrictions, and also it's very hard to run multiple qualifying events when because one thing, if you haven't been to Mighty Ape, is that they are a fair way north. They're up in Silverdale. So this basically all the prizes that were previously available to Road to Nationals, with the exception of the appearance fee, will be up for grabs. So there's tunics, gold cold foil legendary.
When you say tunics,
tunic
playmats. Please don't show up expecting gold tunics.
Tunic playmats, cold foil heroes, a gold cold foil drop, and and of course the chance to hang out with your fellow fabbers to play a day of Blitz with 48 players. It's going to be 6 rounds, cut to top 8.
Yeah, nice. So that is pretty exciting. And the other exciting thing for us is that we will be doing coverage, which is cool. Yep. So we'll be doing a combination of sort of text-based coverage on our Facebook page, as well as trying to stream some of the key matches throughout the day and bit of the top 8 and the finals. Obviously, we're not 100%. I do know that we have a separate streaming room. I'm not 100% sure how that's set up for commentary, on whether or not we're going to be able to do live commentary, or whether or not it's going to be more that we're just going to get the actual raw footage up and running. But we will work that out on the day. But yeah, it's going to be exciting.
I do have an update, Ian, because I talked to David, who is our contact at Mighty Ape and is running it. So we should be able to do live. We should be able to do live coverage. One of the things is between me and Ian's jobs, we haven't, to be honest, had a lot of time to prepare this. So David and Mighty Ape are certainly giving us a hand to do it. So we believe we should be able to do commentary, especially now that Ian, I'll get Ian to tell the story, but Ian has nobly given up his entry to the event to help somebody else out who missed out. But yeah, we believe we'll be able to room for the matches, and then we will be able to set up in a separate room to actually do commentary. Again, nice. For those of you that may tune in on Saturday, this is a bit of an experiment for us. We are borrowing a bunch of equipment.
Yeah, this is like please be aware that we are not streamers. We have never been streamers. This is our first foray into it. So while both me and Alan have been on other people's streams before, we haven't actually been the ones setting it up. So yeah, I mean, we just wanted to get some stuff out to you, because we know that there's a lot of people who are real keen to see the product up and running and see high end in play. So we're going to do our best, but bear with us is all I'll say.
One of the things we may do is we may not start the stream at the beginning of round one, just to give us a little bit of time to set up, because we do just have a narrow window to get set up.
And also the other thing too is that often that sort of first two rounds, you don't necessarily have before you start getting into the Swiss pairings, you don't necessarily always have a good key feature match. So we're gonna take that time in round one and maybe round two to make sure that we've got things up and running. But in those first two rounds, we will be, so as we said, we will be doing photos and some text coverage and stuff like that, just so you will get a vibe of how the day starts out, which is cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. Fingers crossed, nothing goes wrong. One last thing is if the internet connection is not stable enough, Mighty Ape do have a good fiber connection there, but if something goes wrong, at the very worst, we will be recording all the games, and then we'll be able to post them later on. But yeah, no, it's going to be a great day. Now, if you are part of the event, make sure you check the Mighty Ape Hobbies page and look for the events. David has done a update for it. So just reminding where the address is, how to get there. Doors open at 8:30 a.m. I believe like the registration, just to make sure you are signed up, starts at 9:30, and they are closing it off at 9:55. And round one is due to kick off at 10 a.m. They've also put up their code of conduct for the event. And also, as well as us streaming, there is apparently also some other filming happening at the event. So yeah, please, if you're attending, please read the details on the Mighty Ape Hobbies page on Facebook for BlitzCon. And I'm actually kind of hoping, Ian, that maybe some people just come up to hang out and watch the event. If you didn't make it, because I mean, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be so many good players there. It'll probably just worth coming to hang out for a while.
Possibly. Yeah. So, and I don't know what the space is like to be able to hang out in. So, but yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty space.
Yeah. So yeah. And as we alluded to, there is a possibility that I will not be playing on the weekend. Basically, it is a sold-out event, and a good friend of the show's and a strong community leader for Fab here in Auckland, Manu. He thought he bought the ticket, but it turned out that it hadn't. The booking hadn't gone through for whatever reason, so he had missed out, which. And it's a real shame, because Manu is does road working and was unable to make most of the Roads to Nationals events because of work. So it is. I was like, well, you know what, dude, I got to play in most of the roads. I mean, it's my birthday on Saturday, but I will gift you. Well, I say gift. He's still going to pay me back for the entry fee, but I've put up my spot so Manu can play. So that'll be fun. If anyone pulls out between now and then from the 48 that have booked in, I will be taking up a spot if there are any cancellations. But yeah, at this time I am foregoing my slot for Manu to play. So it should be fun. All right, it looks like we've got a little bit of a comment on this before we go forward. We need some more wrestling-inspired Radio Reflex events like Team Sealed Survivor Series matchup, even a Royal Rumble Ultimate Pit Fight. Funny you should say that. I have in my twisted little mind been trying to come up with a tag team format. And we don't want to launch that until we get a couple of test runs under our belt. But 2021. I think you might see another wrestling inspired Radio Reflex event.
Well, to be fair, Ian, the Royal Rumble suggestion has also got it's got my mind rumbling. How could you do a Royal Rumble? 2 people start, and every so much life lost, a new player joins in. But there's some possibilities. There's some possibilities there. So. Zex McCasey, thank you for the Royal Rumble suggestion. I'm sure Ian's thought about almost every possible wrestling / fab format we could do. So, but I mean, as he said, he's been thinking about the tag team one. So, maybe 2021 we can definitely, because we could have Radio Reflex tag team belts. That's always a possibility.
Possibly.
Definitely a possibility. All right. I suppose we should get on to our results for last week and I suppose yesterday, because that would lead into the special guest deck list that we're going to go. Because I didn't get quite enough chance to hype it online, but I was gifted a deck list to actually put up today. And I thought about telling you whose deck list it was, but we'll leave that as a surprise for the viewers. We will post up later. But let's go to the scoreboard here. What's the score, George Dawes?
All right. So since we last played, we've actually had 2 events. So how did you go? So we had Shuffle and Cut on Sunday. How did you go on Sunday?
So I went all right. So I made some changes to the deck. I don't have a graphic for it today. I didn't make any changes on Sunday. I played the deck, my Kasai deck, the same. Shuffle and Cut do their Armory events on Sunday at 4 p.m. So we had like a dozen players rock up. So I played Kasai round 1. I believe I came up against Dexter, and Dexter had gone back to Brute. So got a win there. Second round, I got paired up against Rohan on Wizard, and pretty much, there's a phrase, I pretty much F6'd that match. I don't know. It's like, you always have lethal on the stack against Wizard, but it doesn't do you any much. Like, what does lethal on the stack even mean? What does lethal on the chain even mean when you're playing against Wizard? It's just another one of their two.
Well. Rohan rolled me as well.
Yeah. So then I played James. I played James round 2. I'm not quite sure.
I think you played James round 2.
Yeah, I played James, and I suppose. Did I give the description? Nick Butcher says not much of a surprise when the description gives it away.
Yeah, I put it in the description of the episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, that's fine. All right. Well, I didn't read out. I'd never read out. descriptions.
Yeah.
But then I played James, and James was on Ranger. So James was, I believe, actually at work and decided to have some fun. I told him about Shuffle and Cut event. James tends to be very busy on Saturdays, so Sunday was a great chance for him to get out. So he came along, and I think about 10 minutes before he left to go to Shuffle and Cut, he built this Ranger deck. So I lost to James's Ranger, a few surprises there. But yeah, it was a cool match. And then the final one, I actually played my new favorite Fab player in all of Auckland, my doppelganger, Alan. There is, in fact, another Alan in Auckland that plays Fab. He's got a beard. And I have to admit, he is more handsome than I am. So, fair cop. But he's my new favorite Fab player. He's my doppelganger. So he was on Rhina with clubs and, back and forth. But I put a lot of pressure on him with the blades and got a lot of free turns. And took him out. So I ended up with 2-2, which was an average result for Kasai at the moment is a good result as far as I'm concerned, because 2-2 is about the best in a 4-round blitz that I get. So it was really good. But of course, how did your 4 rounds go in?
I did not do well. I won the first round and then proceeded to lose all the rest of them. So I went 1-3 with my Rhino deck. And it was just one of those days, as I said, Rohan burnt me out, and again, a game that would have, I believe, as you said, I believe I had Fatal on the stack when he burned me out, and then also Kale, who is watching now, absolutely stomped me in a game that just fatigued out with. He didn't get to do his combo on me, but he just did fatigue me out in a classic brute Guardian matchup. So it was just one of those days where dice rolls didn't go my way. It happens with brute. But
fortunately, that's okay, Ian, because on Tuesday night, the exact opposite happened, basically. So for every swing down, there's a swing up. Hopefully.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like last night, I actually wanted to play Ranger. I was hoping to get a hold of the list that we are going to show. It didn't show up until I'd already left the house, though. So what I had done is I actually a super quick 5-minute rebuild of my KO deck where I decided, you know what, I'm going to run with the club instead of the claws and just try it with all 6 breakneck berries, which are the discard a card if it's a 6 cost, get go again. But the blue and the yellow, of course, are 4 attack and 5 attack as opposed to being 6 attacks. So you get those initial attacks before you have to then roll the dice for KO's ability. And yeah, it went really well. Bar my match against Rogers, where I couldn't roll a 5 or a 6 the whole game. Yeah, it went great. Like you and I had a great epic one life apiece drag out.
But it was one life apiece for so long. I remember I was counting your deck, Ian, saying because you'd used one
reckless swing at the beginning of the game. Yeah.
So literally, I counted up your deck, and I'm like, "There's 8 cards in this deck, and only one of these 8 is useful. There are 7 useless cards." But like we swung back, and I almost had you because you almost made a huge mistake. Fortunately, you took it back almost immediately because we had a situation where I'm swinging with my blade, and Ian's having to defend with an attack.
Well, basically, I'm having to defend for 6 because at that time I had to put you on either having Razor Reflex or
Iron Song Response.
Iron Song Response.
Which I did have.
Yeah. And so I was basically blocking for 6 each time. But obviously with the sabers, if you block with attack action, the saber gets +1. So you have to make sure that you're blocking for 6 and not 5.
Yeah. So what you did is you put down a 3 and a 2, and as soon as you put it down, you realized your error, and took it back up. So
yeah.
Fortunately, being such a friend, I let the taxi maxi happen. But Ian was right. I had the iron song response. So if he had been less observant and just chucked that down, he was dead on the spot. So but eventually you got me.
And the game ended with Demolition Crew.
And not just a Demolition Crew, a big Demolition Crew.
I rolled a 5. Alan thought the game was over, and I was nice enough to point out to Alan that he still had his gambler's gloves.
See, this is what happens, We want good game. We want good games.
Which he then cracked, and I proceeded to turn my 5 into a 6 and beat him.
Yeah.
Beat him.
I feel it's somehow unfair that I gave you a better roll, and I didn't. I should have got some advantage for giving you a better roll.
Although that being said, had it gone down to just 3 and you defended, you would have lost next turn because my follow-up hand was the reckless swing +3 6 attack card. So So,
but to be fair, there's not many answers to a dominated demolition crew when you're on one.
No.
I mean, that was enough. So it was a really great game, and just because we how many turns? It was at least 5 turns, 4 or 5 turns. We were both
4 or 5 turns of going back and forth. And again, the other thing I had to be very mindful of was because I went down to 1, so I couldn't swing with the club because of steel blade shunt. So it was something that I had to be aware of. So there was that, and Manu and I had a good game first round, and they're probably the best the deck played absolutely perfectly in the last round, and I felt bad. I was playing against Newsom, and I just think I hit 5s and 6s for the first 3 turns in a row against his Katsu, and he's just having to dump his whole hand to block, and he just never. I think he took 10 on turn 1, and then from there I just kept hitting with 5s and 6s. It was pretty brutal, and that's the thing about KL. When it goes off, it is very hard to defend against.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We just want to shout out to Newsom as well. Not often does someone lose to both members of Radio Reflex in the night. So.
It was pretty good. Instead of us losing to one person, we both beat. My first round opponent was Newson, and I can't remember if he was on. Was he on Katsu or Ira? He was on Katsu, and the deck just didn't fire, and I just got a lot of. My deck just seemed to work really well. He made. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But
do it on the weekend and we'll be impressed, Kale. Do it on the weekend and we'll be impressed.
I had a really good game against Houston because I did make some changes before going to Hobby Master for the event. Big changes were 2 blue driving blades out for 2 blue flocks, red flocks in. And Light Strikes in, and against Newton I just had the perfect I attacked with a blade. I think it was like a 5-power blade with Go Again, or as a 4-power blade. Then I was able to attack with the second blade only for 2, and he let it pass. So what I did is I popped my shoes, and was then able to follow that up with an Enlightened Strike. So that was, it put a lot of pressure on him, but basically the rest of the matches, I just kind of fell apart. Our game was good. Man, I wish he'd rolled a 1 when I re-rolled that dice, but that's how it rolls. And I can't remember my third round. Oh, no, I played Regan and just his warrior. It's just better. Like singing Steelblade is like the biggest loss if you're playing Kasai.
Yeah.
And just like he finally finished me off with a Steelblade supremacy tip.
I think that's what a lot of people who are playing the new young heroes that don't have specializations yet are finding is that yeah, there's some of those key specializations that would help, and so hopefully down the line in future sets we might see some specializations for some of these other characters as well. Yeah. So with that being said, you came very close to evening everything up after Sunday.
Yeah, but I threw it away. Threw it away on Tuesday night, Ian.
10-7. So I'm in double figures, Alan. Yeah, but it's very close. It is a lot closer than our other two seasons, and really, it's still very much anyone's game, and we will see who is going to get that fab tattoo at the end of the season.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's Ian. I just had to. What we'll do is let's go to the deck list. I have to actually just pop out for a second because I realized I did not plug this laptop in, and it's got approximately 10 minutes left of life. 9 minutes according to this. So just going to take 2 seconds to get. But let's pop up this so Ian can have a go. I'll be back in a second, guys.
Sure. Right. So as we said, we were lucky enough to be gifted this list from our benevolent creator of Wraith. And let's see if no, because he has yeah. So it will come back. It will come back on once Alan. Because it's shared off Alan's computer. So this now this isn't the list that James played on Sunday. As we said, James sort of threw that together. He has done some more testing this week, playing with it, and yeah, it's very interesting. I've had a very quick look at it before we came on air, and it was here we are. Yes, there we are. So let me pull it up. So this is James's current Azalea Blitz deck. So let's start with the equipment. Really utilizing having different things for different matchups. So we'll start with the weapon. He is running Death Dealer, very much a Death Dealer deck. There is he hasn't even put Redliner back into as an option, so it's the Death Dealer deck. Of course, the Cross Wrap, which is the Ranger Legendary, which is a very important piece to Ranger decks, being able to opt that top card and really set up your big Azalea turn. Oh, and it's completely gone. Maybe Alan's laptop has dropped out, so he will be back. So I'll just go where I remembered. It also had the Fendel Spring Tunic as well as the Nullrune robe as well. So and that really the Nullrune robe's there for that arcane barrier to help you out with the Runeblade matchup.
Sorry, guys. Ian, you can bring
that back. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When your laptop says you've got 6 minutes of battery life left, you should not trust that it's you've got 6 minutes. Sorry. Yes. Sorry, Ian. Go ahead. We're back to the left.
Yeah. So we were just going over the equipment to start with. Bullseye braces, again, very good in Ranger, allows you to get that extra arrow shot off with the +1. The Perch Grapplers. Now, this is an interesting piece. We haven't really been given much insight into his deck, so I'm not sure if it's there for the ability or just for the 1+2 block. that you get from it. Again, you'd have to look into it. You also there you have the Gambler's Gloves. Obviously, that is for the brute matchup, where if you're coming, especially if you're coming against like a KO or even a Rhino, it is pretty important to have your own gloves. Snapdragon Scalers, which again gives you one go again over the perch grapplers, which while you can pay 2 to give your arrows go again for the turn. It is quite an expensive. It's quite an expensive piece. So I would imagine quite often you're going to be running the Snapdragon Scalers. Then you've got the Iron Rock Gauntlets, which I would imagine is in there for like the ninja matchup. And what's the other? The braces of belief, which is an interesting thing, which I'm not 100% sure why you'd play that over the bullseye braces, but I'm sure it's possibly just to get maybe against like Wizard, where you're just really trying to get that kill very quickly to give an arrow that extra boost. And of course, it is very good in this thing, because one of the things that when we move down to the deck that you'll see is there is no blue in this deck. Zero blue count. So the red, we have Red in the Ledger, which is a great card. We have Remorseless, great card. Hamstring Shot, again, very solid. Taxes your opponent. Next attack for 1. Salvage Shot, which I believe is a late inclusion in this build from the last iteration, and I think that very much is to stop the fatigue, to help out with the fatigue matchups. Obviously, Salvage Shot, much like Drone of Brutality, will head back to the bottom of the deck, which if it hits, which is good. Red Headshot, which is again just very good. Six attack for 1 is amazing. Searing Shot again does extra damage when it hits, and it's a 0 cost. Endless Arrow, when it hits, jumps back to your hand. Ridge Rider's Shot, again very good for seeing what's on top of the deck to help with the Azalea build. Pathing Helix, which is a very interesting card that basically when that hits, it allows you to put an arrow from your hand back into your arsenal. So that is going to help on, like, if you're using the perch grapplers for a turn where you're going with the go against, or even the Snapdragon Scalers on a turn that you want to get an extra attack in. That is a solid way to load it up. E-Strike, obviously, very good. Everyone knows how good E-Strike is. Rabble, again, I think the Rabble is almost a standard card in a range of builds. Just again, it's that pseudo opt, allowing you to tell what's on the top. So it's like Rabble's a really great card. It gives you go again. It lets you see what's on the top. Again, with something like Braces of Belief, if you're running with that, knowing the card that's on top to make sure that you get the most out of that, the Braces of Belief play is super solid.
And also remember one thing: if you Ravenous Rabble and reveal Gorganian Tome off the top, ba-boom.
Yes. Yeah.
Maximum value.
Yeah.
Maximum value.
Yeah, or even if you have the Rebels at the end of the game and there's nothing left in your deck, they also swing for 5, which is super solid. Of course, Take Aim, which is super solid. Reload +3. We've got 2 red sigils, and then into the yellow we've got yellow headshot again, swinging for 5. Yellow Rebel, which a lot of people. Most people are only playing Red Rebel, but the idea stands strong that it's still a solid choice with the option. Yellow Take Aim, again very good. 2 Whisper of the Oracle yellow. Now this is an interesting thing, and one of the things that you'll see is that of course opting is very good in the Ranger matchups, and that makes sure that you get optimum value out of your Azalea. But the other thing too about Whisper is that I would imagine it's there to help just pay for your Death Dealer to draw a card. But it also blocks. The key thing is it also blocks for 3, which is very important in a deck that runs 0 defense reactions. Then we've got two yellow sigils. So basically running sigils over defense reactions here, and one remembrance, which again, you've got so many sort of key cards that do key things. Getting them back is very important to set up. And then ending with the Gorian Tomb, which again, as you said, great if you hit it on Rabble.
Yeah.
It is an extra card on the turn that it comes into your hand. You can get it if you accidentally Azalea it in. You can get it out. You can get it out as well. So solid.
Yeah. So
again, this is a very aggressive deck. Very little in the way of any defense reactions at all. Really just relying on it again, lots of arrows though. So all the arrows do block for 3 if you are forced to block. But really, what you want to be doing is hitting with those dominated arrows, and really making the most out of that.
So one of the things is, fortunately, while James hasn't given me a whole rundown of this deck, not what I expected. I was very lucky that James did let us publish the decks, but James has said a few things to me about the deck. One of the things is, just to remind people, if you're looking at this deck, this is a deck James decided to put together for fun on a Sunday afternoon, but he has been doing a bit of work on it. So if you actually played him on Sunday, this, as Ian pointed out, this deck is a little bit different. So the little tips and things that James has mentioned to me, one, most importantly, he says this is very much a Death Dealer deck. So don't be thinking about subbing in Redliner in this deck. James is like, this deck is all about Death Dealer. Don't make any mistakes about that. Now, one thing of the Perch Grapplers is, Ian, is I have actually seen James pitch 2 and use the action to give to use a go again on it. But I mean, I think the two armor, as you pointed out, is very good.
Because that is one of the sort of sticking points with Ranger and Blitz, is that her best setup for equipment does not have a lot of battle worn damage on it. So you're not getting a lot of while you're getting a lot of key abilities, you're not getting a lot of defense out of her setup normally.
Yeah, because like your cross wrap unfortunately has blade break. You don't get anything on your bullseye braces. The same as
you get arcane barrier. You get arcane barrier on your braces.
Yeah. So that is good. So the deck does have quite a bit of arcane barrier for the wizard matchup, because you can bring in robe obviously, and you've got natural arcane barrier 1 on both the cross wrap and the bullseye braces. Yeah. Now the other thing,
that being said, it's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough matchup anyway, because you have so little in the way of pitch value to actually defend your the arcane damage.
Now, a couple other things, like Ian mentioned the salvage shots. So salvage shots were actually sleep darts up until a little while ago now. But one of the reasons, because I did ask James, I said, is it, as you mentioned, so it recycles to the bottom of the deck, so you have that kind of option for a longer game. But James said that is part of it. But the key thing is it's a 5 power arrow, because I think pretty much everything, if it's a 0 cost arrow, it's 4. But like all the other 1 cost arrows, I think he just wants more 5 power. 5 cost, 5 power arrows. So that's one of the reasons why salvage shot is in there. Now the remembrance came in. The list was actually running Art of War for a while, but James subbed that out. The remembrance and the extra take aim replaced those. one of the things that I just love is that James just said to me that he just always Azaleas blind. Like you're saying, oh, there's all these options to set up the top of a deck, but James is like, nah, I just always Azalea blind. So
well, and that's the thing. But bar Remembrance early, like Azalea blind in this deck is actually not terrible.
No, should be pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, and even Remembrance early, you can get out of the Azalea thing. So
yeah. So that's. I mean, take James's statement for with a grain of salt. And I mean, James asked me how we wanted to kind of frame this deck because and him letting us have a look at it and publish it. And I said probably the biggest thing about us discussing this deck is us just kind of flummoxing around and figuring out what James actually intended with this deck. Because one of the things I think that obviously why these guys are on a different level, and I'm talking about James, Chris, and Jason when they're playing, is like I just understand so much more. And one of the things is when like with deck building, I always think about deck building as being big things. Like when you change your deck, you change a lot of cards. But I do know when James has been playing around with this, there's really minor changes, moving something from a red to a yellow to a red. And I think for most of us, trying to figure out these slight differences is really hard. And it's not something that comes to me easily. But like when James looks at a deck, it's just like he's like, just like he can put little tweaks in that actually make a difference. Whereas like the rest of us, it wouldn't happen. But yeah. I mean, obviously, Fab is James's game, so you'd hope he would be the master. Very much he is the master. So I'm not sure I'd recommend anyone to play this. I mean, I do actually want to play it. If I wasn't restricted to Crucible Heroes, I would give this a go because it looks like a lot of definitely. A lot of fun.
I'll definitely put it together and have some games against you with it. It does look a lot of fun. And that's the thing is like Azalea decks are always fun. Might not necessarily always top level, they are at least always fun, and that's the one thing I do love about the character is that there's always something to be done even with only a couple of cards.
Yeah, I just love those things like the yellow cards, like the yellow Sigil of Solaces, because I must admit James had played the yellow sigils against me in our game, so they weren't just there for pitch power, and they genuinely, because everyone's prepared for red sigil. I mean, you take red sigil into your mass, and having like yellow sigils is just like, I was taking.
Yeah,
well,
what the hell? I mean, to be fair, also the number of times I've died to exact arcane damage from Wizard, having that extra sigil, could be key. So yeah, no, again, very good, very good.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, sort of in there instead of defense reactions, just purely because if you're Azaleaing blind, you can always get a sigil out and then either maybe use your bullseye braces or your take aims or something to get something back in and fire off an arrow. So
with this deck, me and Ian make no guarantees. If you think you can figure out more about this deck or see into the mind of the creator and pluck the truth of this deck out of the ether, please comment. I will post obviously this on our Facebook page and put it on share it to the fan page. So I'd love to see what people think. I'm sure James would love to see what people think. See how close you get to the core concepts of this deck. So it's exciting. So we don't often get the opportunity to bring a deck from somebody in the studio. So again, thank you for James. He could very have easily just politely declined, but I love that he's given this opportunity to share this, and I hope all those Ranger players enjoy this and gets your creative juices sparked to work on Ranger even more. I
mean possibly a UPF deck right there.
Possibly. Oh well, I mean, me and Ian
take out a remembrance, throw in a Go Bananas, and you're good to go.
Oh yeah, true. I mean, me and Ian have already been talking. I mean, I know Ian's got some ideas. My terrible idea for the UPF is my Data Doll pillow fort deck. That's designed always to come second place because everyone takes pity on you. But everyone else, no one's going to attack Data Doll. I mean, God, 3 cards in hand. So yeah, so if you guys play me and I have gone for the terrible data, I think it may even be worse than your Dom Rinthia, Ian.
Hey, Dom Rinthia is solid. Don't sleep on Dom Rinthia.
Yeah,
I might have to break her out for Hobby League next week.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think that's us for Fab today. We've done just under 55, just over 55 minutes there. So do you have anything for Kurt's Corner?
All right. Well, usually we talk about what we love, but I actually thought I'd come up with a subject about wrestling, but something a little bit more interesting. Maybe we won't go on forever about it. But an interesting thing happened this week in the world of wrestling is a noted wrestler, Zelina Vega, was released from WWE. And part of the reasons, one was her support of unions, because if you don't know much about the behind the scenes of wrestling, Ian knows quite a bit about it. I know a bit. Ian's been behind that, so he knows about quite about it. But wrestlers, certainly WWE wrestlers, are independent contractors, not employees.
Yes. But yes, it's a very WWE has a very weird model that they like to call their employees individual contractors, but put a whole lot of restrictions on them as if they were employees, to the point where it has actually come up in the media. There, I know there was one of the running mates of Biden was if he made it as head of secretary of finances. I'm not sure the position, but basically said that he was going to look into it. Also, recently, the Screen Actors Guild has reached out to the likes of Zelina Vega and that about coming together and seeing if they can't help unionize for the wrestlers, because really one of the big key to this current argument is that over the lockdown, a lot of the wrestlers have set up Twitch channels and Cameo accounts, and basically WWE has come down and they gave them an ultimatum saying by the end of October you have to stop all your own Twitch channels and Cameo channels and all of those things where you're using your likeness as a WWE star will now go through the company, and you will get a cut of it. But all revenue that you make off those streams will go to the company first. With the rationale being that they wouldn't have that forum if they weren't WWE superstars. Which is tenuous, especially when you look at the likes of Xavier Woods, or Austin Creed in real life, who wrestles as Xavier Woods, part of the New Day, who runs the Up Up Down Down gaming channel. Who arguably, yes, a lot of the popularity of that is that it is him and his WWE friends playing computer games, but he's probably got just as big a gaming following as he does wrestling fan following. So yes, now, it's interesting times coming up.
Yeah. Now again, if you're an employee, that would be fine, but as they're framed as independent contractors, because me and Ian, we both had the same situation in a way. Both of us were working for LSS when we started this podcast, and we have certain restrictions on us. Obviously, like information. Like for one example, is that previously we have been offered some sponsorship for the podcast, but because that sponsorship obviously comes from people that are Fab, as like connected to Fab, we couldn't take that on board because me being as me still being an LSS employee, having the podcast, sponsored by somebody wouldn't be kosher. And that's totally fine because I am an employee. But these people are counted as independent contractors, and one thing Ian didn't get to.
Being that they're independent contractors, they don't get the benefits of being an employee. They don't get sick leave. They don't get health benefits or anything. So it is, and also because so much of their money is directly related to merch sales and live events with the pandemic this year. The sort of Twitch streaming and stuff really and cameo work really had been helping them live because they lost so much of their back end because of being unable to do live events.
Yeah, and it's fine if you're one of the top stars in the WWE, like if you're a Seth Rollins or a Becky Lynch. But if you're a mid-carder, it's just not the same. If you're earning over $1 million of WWE and a guaranteed contract, you're okay. But if you're not up in that higher, if you're not a Brock Lesnar or a Seth Rollins or a Roman Reigns, it's pretty rough. And one thing that Ian didn't mention, and probably one of the reasons why Zelina Vega did get released, was Ian mentioned Twitch and Cameo were the ones that WWE mentioned. But Zelina decided to open a OnlyFans, which I believe WWE did not cover. Obviously, her OnlyFans is covering her cosplay and stuff like that. If you're an adult, you probably know the other things I won't go into on OnlyFans. But that's probably one of the reasons she didn't want to relinquish that. Because she did Zelina Vega. If you've seen her, she does a lot of cosplay. She's actually an excellent cosplayer.
Yeah, like she's to the point. She was actually semi-professional. Like I believe she got paid to do some of her Mortal Kombat cosplay for the Mortal Kombat 11 launch and stuff like that. So she is very, very hardcore into that side of it as well.
But yeah, ultimately, I suppose we've discussed what's happened. But I mean, how do you feel about it? I know that it's hard sometimes to be a fan of a WWE, and if you think about, I don't know, it's like I've possibly ignored a lot of things that have happened with the product. It's probably one of the great reasons for AEW, because AEW came on the scene promising, and I don't know, their wrestlers seem to be happy, promising real benefits for the people working in the business. But yeah, it's hard to stay a fan sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's that classic. The more you look behind the curtain, the less you're going to enjoy the magic, right? The more you know what happens behind the scenes, the harder it is to turn off and just enjoy the on-screen product. Vince McMahon is a very successful businessman. He has been doing it for many, many years, but I do feel like he is a bit out of touch. He is in his 70s now, and he is running things like he still did back in the 80s, which is 30 some years ago now. So
and it was very easy to get away with crap in those days.
Yes, and he was the only game in town back then as well, which only the last year or so with AEW has there really been a huge amount of genuine options for top stars. If they weren't, if you weren't in the E, you could make an okay career doing like New Japan, Ring of Honor, and TNA and stuff like that. But if back in just even a couple of years ago, if you wanted to be on the big stage, it was the E.
Yeah, if you wanted to be on TV, if you wanted the big T-shirt sales, if you wanted the toy figures, not to say any of those other wrestling federations are terrible, and New Japan's good, but WWE is a world leader. It's world known. So that was the pinnacle. So it makes it pretty tough. And I mean, it's not like there's so many things like the Saudi Arabia stuff. The stuff around. I'm sorry if you remember one of the divas that passed away recently.
Yeah, they let 40% of their staff go over COVID, yet they are reportedly having the highest earning year of ever. ever in the history of the WWE, because they are not they're not incurring the fees to be a touring company. So yeah, it's very hard sometimes when you're like, okay, you're making massive profits, but you're letting go 40% of your workforce while still making, way more than would cover at least keeping some of them on, which is pretty tough. And there's also been a few cynical things of like the people who have were released and then sort of brought back because they proved that they could. They could make money, so they brought them back, and the likes of like Drake Maverick and stuff like that, which that doesn't sit well as well. Like, they legit worked his legit raw emotion of being fired into an angle, of him getting his job back.
Kudos to Drake Maverick for carrying it off and stuff like that. But it feels really like, just like if your boss at work, fired you and brought you back a couple of days later because he was able to get some extra publicity from it. I mean, how would you react to that? I mean, it's pretty rough. Which seems rough, since I was going to suggest maybe me and Ian do some wrestling watch-alongs during the holiday break. After trashing the WWE, we might be getting you to watch some classic pay-per-views of us over. Maybe we just watch WCW pay-per-views, Ian. Oh, come on! All right, ECW. So come on! Oh, that's right. If you're still listening to the end.
There's a lot of filler in those shows. I'll just warn you of that. A lot of filler.
Well, if you're still watching, I propose to plan for Ian that over the holiday break we do some non-fab and do some watch-alongs of some classic pay-per-views. So all you have to do is have the pay-per-view somewhere. But we'll see. It's something I'd like to do because I think me and Ian just unreservedly talking about wrestling for 2.5 hours on a pay-per-view.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
It's just, we will be your Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler or Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan. We'll do it for you,
Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko.
I'm definitely Tony. Both of us are Tony. Don't want to trust that Larry Zbyszko. He was an all right commentator, wasn't he?
No,
I don't really have any. Terrible. I don't really have that many fond memories of
WCW was all trash.
Hey, awful wrestler, but I mean he made it to the Four Horsemen. Not everyone gets to be a Four Horseman member.
Yeah, well, Luger was a horseman as well. So,
wow, hey, Luger, I've come to appreciate Luger a little bit more than I used to. But
no, he's terrible. He's a trash wrestler.
Well, I mean, he is tragic because can we ever actually forgive him? He was involved in the death of Miss Elizabeth.
Among other horrendous atrocities. Anyway, I think we are now just rambling, so we will cut it.
just now.
Just now, we will cut it there. And thanks for joining us. We will, as we said, we have live coverage in both text form and hopefully streaming form this Saturday at BlitzCon. Probably kicking. Our coverage is probably going to kick off around about 11 o'clock or 10:30, 11 o'clock with round 2 of the event. So tune in and we will catch you later. Wash damn hands.
See ya.